Good morning to the honorable ministers of the council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, and other respective radio stations island-wide. I am Charity Dunker, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, January 27, 2021. At this time, I'd like to invite the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Durant, to address you. Minister, kindly unmute your mic.
Good morning, Charity. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the media, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today, I wish to give you an update on the following. It is my pleasure to announce that the Ministry of Rummy will be launching its anti-littering campaign today, DAB, also known as Dispose in a Bin. This has been done in effort to encourage environmental pride among citizens and therefore consists of a strong anti-littering messages. The DAB campaign serves to remind residents and visitors alike that the extracurricular activities in our shared public spaces are encouraged but should be done in a responsible manner. Waste that is subsequent of beach activities, hiking, socializing, or outdoors exercise should be discarded responsibly and appropriately after these activities are over. In the event a waste bin is not directly within reach, I encourage everyone to take your waste with you and dispose in the first available bin. I'm encouraging the community to take great pride in the country we call home and also to understand the importance of keeping our island clean. I believe that this campaign will create an increased awareness in regards to the responsible disposal of waste and that it will be adopted by residents and visitors. The brown pelican has been chosen to characterize the campaign and it is our country's national bird. It will also serve as a reminder of the environment, including the well-being of animals that could put at risk in the unclean environment. Stickers of the character image have already been placed on various central bins in the different districts. In the coming weeks, stickers will be placed on bins in the remaining districts as well. It is in the intention of the ministry to also distribute stickers in our schools to increase the awareness amongst our youth in order for them to know from a young age the importance of having a clean environment in the districts and eventually around the entire island. That will conclude my presentation for today, and you will now be seeing the video that we created from the launch. Thank you.
Littering disrupts our progress as a nation, causing irreversible social, environmental, and financial damage. Our tiny nation must fight the harmful practice of disposing waste items anywhere and everywhere. The Ministry of Rummy encourages environmental pride by our residents and respectful use of the environment by visitors. This helps to keep our island clean. Littering causes harmful effects to our environment, such as trapping and poisoning of endangered animals, contaminated water that affects and kills marine life, potential fire hazards, destruction of vegetation in natural areas, transmission of germs which could potentially lead to disease outbreaks. For example, disposing of used face masks in the environment can aid in the spread of the COVID-19 virus. We can avoid permanent damage through very simple changes. Cleaning up after yourself in public spaces. Encourage others to do the same. If there are no waste bins in sight, take the garbage with you. Clean communities have a better chance of attracting businesses, residents, and tourists. Let us foster the change we want to see and lead by example. The Ministry of Rummy encourages environmental pride. It's an island thing. Dispose in a bin.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Durant, for your opening remarks and also your presentation. Moving forward, I'd like to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, none other than Minister Arian Artwell, to address you.
Good morning to my colleague, ministers, the media, and everyone viewing and listening via radio and live stream. The first update will be in regards to the SRP. The portal for COVID-19 unemployment support and income support will be open today at 5 p.m. You will be able to apply for both January and February support. The deadline is February 10th. The sooner you apply, the sooner your request can be processed and you can receive the help you need. This week, I joined the Prime Minister in Parliament meetings to discuss the laws that were presented in the negotiations for COVID-19 relief from the Netherlands. These include Jacob's norm that entails that employees in the public and semi-public sector aren't to earn more than 130% of the Prime Minister's salary plus benefits. The 25% personnel cuts in employment packages, which applies primarily to ministers and parliamentarians. And lastly, the 12.5% cut, which applies to civil servants and was applied to vacation days instead of where we tried our best not to cut into salaries, use items such as vacation days and benefits instead of salaries. Lastly, the last update is in regards to road tax. The deadline to pay your 2021 road tax is February 28th. Seeing as the lines have gotten a little longer, I encourage you to all use the online payment system. You are able to pay for multiple plates simultaneously online, meaning you can do this per household. You can find more information like the directions on how to pay your road tax and the account numbers pinned on my Facebook page, the government's page, and the website. Traditional methods such as the drop box located at the front of the government building can also be used, and cash payments are still available for those without online banking available to them. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to questions from the media.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Irian, for your opening remarks. Moving forward, I'd like to call on the Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, the Honorable Richard Panafleck, to address you. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, Ms. Doncher. Good morning to the members of the media, my esteemed colleagues of the Council of Ministers, and the people of St. Martin. I would like to provide the public with an update on the latest statistics on COVID-19. As of January 26, 1,767 persons had a laboratory confirmed COVID-19 infection. Later on, I will address that figure because I just got the latest figure, and that is 1,805 positive cases at stand, but I will elaborate on that a little later. There are currently 129 cases that are actively being monitored. These are the figures that we received yesterday. That's what I'm reporting right now. As I said, I will come back with the figures that we have received in the meanwhile. On Saturday, 23rd of January, I was accompanied by the head of the Collective Prevention Services, Mrs. Lisa de Weaver, to meeting with the Red Cross officials, whereby we discussed the support from the Red Cross with the launching of the COVID-19 vaccination planning and implementation process. And we discussed the support from VSR to the Red Cross food program. The Red Cross was very supportive with the community outreach program during the first wave, and I am looking forward to their support once again. CPS continues to monitor the COVID-19 situation on the island, especially seeing that the Caribbean region is now dealing with also the UK variant. In addition, as of this morning, as I said, January CPS registered 1,805 confirmed cases. The reason for that is that after the cutoff time, when we get the reporting, the daily reporting, more information came that was after the reporting time that we will release to the media. But trying to be giving you the numbers that we have right now, I decided to do that as the information has reached to me. This don't mean that automatically the active positives is just that you add up 38, because there are recoveries also, but those recoveries will be subtracted later during the day. CPS has already started to send samples to REVM for genotyping on the weekly basis, and once this information is received, this will be communicated to the public. To explain what this means is CPS is sending samples of the test that has been conducted to see if the mutation variants like the English, the South African or Brazilian one is also within our system. That's what it basically means. I remind everyone to remember the prevention measures and ensure that you are washing your hands frequently, wearing your mask, and maintaining your distance. Last night, VSR held a meeting with the physicians, the GPs, general practitioners, to inform them about the COVID-19 vaccination strategy and implementation plan. There was a presentation by Professor Dr. Duits, immunologist from Curacao, and it was well received. I'm happy to report that VSR will be receiving support from Red Cross for our vaccination campaign. Mr. Henk Verde has started his role as vaccine manager as of yesterday and will lead the vaccine implementation in collaboration with the vaccination management team. Henk supported CPS in the first wave of the outbreak, assisting with the development of crucial guidelines for business reopening. I would like to encourage persons to come forward and call your general practitioner or CPS at 914 if you have been experiencing any signs and symptoms that may be related to COVID. Please do not be ashamed. As we continue to navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic, I urge you to remain vigilant and wash or sanitize your hands frequently, maintain a social distance of 2 meters, wear a mask, and refrain from attending large gatherings. Thank you. May God bless St. Martin. Thank you, Ms. Duncan.
Thank you very much, Minister Panafleck, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport, and Telecommunication, the Honorable Ludmila de Wever, to address you. Good morning, Minister.
Thank you, Ms. Dunker. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the press, Ms. Dunker, and the viewing and listening public. Here are a few updates for TEAT for the last 2 weeks since I've been absent. Annual confirmation letter process. The Inspectorate of TEAT would like to inform the holders of passenger transport permits that the requirement to have a confirmation letter in order to collect a license plate will no longer be necessary. Permit holders can proceed directly to the receiver's office at the Government Administration Building to pay for and collect their license plates. All other requirements stipulated by the receivers remain applicable. The Department of Economic Licenses and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry Info Webinar collaboration. As part of the Chamber's annual Business Awareness Workshop campaign, workshops this year will be hosted in the form of a webinar every month. The idea is to have business professionals hold a virtual presentation on a business subject matter of their expertise, of their area of expertise. During the month of February, the Chamber will be partnering with various institutions to provide free webinar presentations to the community. These institutions include the notaries, tax administration, Department of Economic Licenses, and the Bankers Association, as well as SZV. The Chamber will be hosting an information webinar with the Department of Economic Licenses on February 9, 2021, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Representing the Department of Economic Licenses will be Justine Webster, Jacqueline Peterson, and Julia Solonier. Just as Minister Panafleck reminded us, I would like to reiterate that it is evident that our COVID-19 active cases remain steadily above 100. That is partially due to the increased testing, due to local transmission, and to the fact that this virus is still very much present on the island. As governments across the world continue to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, and particularly increased restrictions due to the new variants, as mentioned by Minister Panafleck, I remind our residents, visitors, and our business community to ensure that the COVID-19 protocols are followed so that our island continues to remain as safe as possible. Inspections to continue. The Inspections Department of TEAT will continue to carry out controls to ensure businesses follow the health protocols, they close on time, and are in compliance with their conditions of licenses. Failure in following the COVID-19 protocols will result in fines and ultimately closure of the business. These are measures that must be taken in order to ensure that we all remain safe. As an additional point, on Monday, Minister Panafleck had a press release of the testing that is available for persons that have to travel to the US. And I would like to remind the public and the visitors that this information is available on stmartinupdates.com website of the St. Martin Tourist Bureau. As of yesterday, this was implemented by the CDC, where all persons returning to the US have to either do an antigen test or a PCR test within the 72 hours of travel. And hotels have partnered with labs. There's a new clinic set up that is in Pelican and Simpson Bay Resorts, near Simpson Bay Resorts. And all of this information is readily available on the Tourism Bureau's updates website. Thank you very much for your attention, and I am available for any questions.
Thank you, Minister De Wever, for those opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Silveria Jacobs, to address you.
Good morning, colleague ministers, members of the press, Ms. Dunker, and the listening and viewing public. Thank you so much for joining us. On Thursday, January 21st, 2021, I attended a closed-door working meeting of the Committee of General Affairs of Parliament, where I was able to begin presenting the legislative changes to the 3 national ordinances for implementation of the cost-cutting measures as per the conditions for receiving the second tranche of liquidity support from the government of the Netherlands. This course of action was deemed necessary to enable government to live up to its obligations to pay out subsidies to essential service providers, the salaries of our civil servants and other public servants, as well as all other financial obligations, seeing our reduced economy since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic around the world. The following 3 national ordinances to be able to enforce the measures are the temporary national ordinance on the standardization of top incomes and adjustments of employment conditions at semi-public entities. Our Minister of Finance joined me on Monday for the start of that meeting, and that was finalized and discussed, agenda point 1 in the Central Committee meeting. The second one, the temporary national ordinance to amend the employment conditions of political authorities, seeks to reduce the employment conditions by 25% of all political authorities. This draft law was presented and discussed yesterday, Tuesday, during agenda point 2 of the Central Committee meeting of Parliament. We were also able to commence with the third, which is the temporary national ordinance, COVID-19 cuts employment conditions for civil servants, which seeks to reduce the personnel costs of government by adjusting the terms of employment of public servants by 12.5% as per July 1st, 2020. This draft law was also presented and the discussion started on Tuesday, however, was not finalized and will be continuing today at 11 a.m. Also yesterday afternoon, together with a delegation of ministries of TIAT and VSA, together with the Department of Foreign Affairs, I met with the Préfet Délégué Serge Goutheron, I hope I'm saying that correctly, along with his delegation to discuss several pending matters and share updates concerning the health situation on both sides, the measures that we are both implementing, including traveling measures, as well as updates on business closing hours and the discouraging of events attracting large gathering and events. The Préfet was quite pleased to learn of our decision taken just yesterday morning regarding the not allowing for the large gatherings to take place for the meanwhile. As you know, the discussions between French and Dutch St. Martin have been ongoing and collaboration on the health level has been quite optimal, doing our best to synchronize measures. And I must say, with the discussions, this being my second with the current Préfet, I do see a great effort to be able to meet halfway and compromise. So I thank the Préfet for that meeting, and I'm sure that our future meetings will continue to allow us to align our protocols and measures in the interest of all the people of St. Martin. As he said yesterday, man a man, meaning hand in hand, we will be able to do so. So I look forward to that collaboration and to being able to update the people of St. Martin on some of the decisions that came out of that meeting once all the signing, etc., has taken place. I also thank the Minister of TAYAT for attending that meeting together with us, and we look forward to continuing also with the Ministry of Health to collaborate with our French counterparts. As I mentioned previously, yesterday, January 26th, the Council of Ministers decided to cancel the planning and execution of both Carnival and Heineken Regatta for 2021 in the interest of the general health of the citizens of St. Martin. In order to arrive at this decision, we consulted with various relevant stakeholders, including healthcare professionals and law enforcement, on the presented reduced activities planned for the Carnival 2021 as well as Heineken Regatta, and considering the impact that such events would have on the population. As such, the St. Martin Carnival Development Foundation, SCDF, and Heineken Regatta organizers have been informed of this decision. A press release was also published, but I would like to remind the people of St. Martin, especially as has been reiterated by our Minister of Health, that based on CPS's latest report of January 25th, the active average cases remain steadily high, not only as a result of the holiday festivities, but also due to apparent, so not proven, but apparent complacency with the public health measures among the population. And if this continues, it is expected that it will increase. The Council of Ministers therefore urges the general public to take heed of the mandatory guidelines implemented for your own health and safety. I myself went back to what is published on our Facebook page, on our website, and have reread some of these guidelines. And I suggest that all those business owners with those guidelines in place to be able to open up after the lockdown should ensure to go back and refresh yourselves. I have visited a couple of restaurants and noticed that some of the serving staff are not consistently wearing masks or are not covering their noses. This is not the correct way to use the mask, and government has also endeavored to give good updates on what is correct mask usage. We will continue to monitor, and as you look around the world, the people of St. Martin will notice that several of our neighbors within the Caribbean, as well as further afield in the United States and Europe, are experiencing some level of lockdown. We have already been there, and I would like to ask the people to remind ourselves, each of us, that we do not want to go back there, and it is our behavior that will keep us safe and keep us open. So let us continue to ensure that we move smart when we are out in public. Our behavior can stop the spread of the virus. Do not become complacent. Do not let your guard down. Continue to practice good hygiene, get healthy, so start some new regimen to be more healthy, exercise regularly, get enough rest, and maintain a proper mental and emotional health while keeping yourself and your loved ones safe as we continue to recover and rebuild our economy. Remember to continue to avoid gatherings, stay within your social circles, proper face mask usage, keeping a proper social distancing, and especially using masks when that cannot be had, hand washing often, using proper respiratory etiquette, and limiting physical contact such as handshaking, hugging, and kissing. I remain open and available for questions from the press up until 10:30 a.m. Do have a pleasant day until further.
Hello. So, what have you heard so far? Here's some basic information about vaccines. When you encounter a virus, if your body recognizes the virus, it will trigger a natural defense reaction. Your body will then start to produce antibodies designed to fight off that virus in the future. Your body remembers. However, if the next encounter with a virus is a new one, your body doesn't have any antibodies yet, and you can get sick. Vaccines. A vaccine is a harmless, inactive part of a virus, or a copy. This way, your body can start producing antibodies without getting sick. So the next time you encounter the same virus, your body remembers it and will defend itself.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister. If you have just tuned in, you're watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, January 20, 2021, which the date of today is January 27th. We now move on to the question and answer session. At this time, the virtual floor is open for the member of the media from the SMN News, Ms. Bibi Shah. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Charity. Good morning. Good morning, Council of Ministers, to my colleagues. My first question goes to the Minister of TIAT, Minister Ludmilla de Weaver. Welcome back. It's been a while. There is a hot potato out there, an issue regarding District 721. Just recently, a video, audio have been circulating with a phone call you made to the owners or managers of District 721. Minister, I know this is a hot potato and it's a hot issue, but what I want to ask you is that when the permit was issued and based on the law on the noise level, was there any testing done by the Ministry of Economic Affairs, TIAT, whoever does the testing for the noise decibels? Have you sent like written notices and all of that? I know there was a video also saying that you recused yourself, but since the flotation of this new video, I'd like for you to set the record straight, Minister.
Thank you, Ms. Hodshaw. Yes, indeed. I have been out sick for quite a while, so it's good to be back, and thank you for the warm welcome. As it pertains to a recording, I'm not going to respond to that because you don't have the full context of any situation. What I can say is that I personally reached out to the owners to try to resolve the situation. I asked them to be reasonable about their music levels and also offered to help assist them to resolve the discrepancies in their permits. Obviously, we want to promote economic activity. However, these overtures were met with resistance, intimidation, and led to threats to my personal safety. It is unfortunate it has come to this, but we will continue to ensure that the proper procedure is done so that any business can operate within the laws. Any business in full compliance would never be hindered from opening. What I would also like to remind the public is that in St. Martin, we have been struggling with a noise pollution issue for a very long time. And within all operating licenses of businesses, there is a restriction on noise levels. This has been heavily controlled since the last quarter of last year, because of the amount of complaints that have been coming in over the years, but not really properly handled. Our purpose here as government is to basically not disenfranchise our residents and our visitors and make it an uncomfortable situation for anyone, whether it is in Almond Grove or Kupakoy or Maho or Pondville or Illidge Road, where all the complaints come in from. So that is what our job here is to cater to our citizens while giving everyone the opportunity to be a cooperative business or neighbor. Thank you very much, Ms. Hodshaw.
Thank you, Minister De Weaver. And now we also move forward to Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. Mr. Brown, the virtual floor is yours.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present here today. Question to the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance, there have been some cut implemented. Is this cut is a requirement from the Dutch condition put forth by the Dutch, and this is the plan of the government of St. Martin? And has the the civil servant agree? I mean, oftentimes you will say, no, we are already having a small salary already and now cut again. Minister of Finance, can you explain, please, to people? Are you there?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. As I mentioned earlier in my opening remarks, the Prime Minister and myself, we are currently in Parliament discussing the laws that were presented to us in the negotiations for COVID-19 relief from the Netherlands. These include the Jacobs norm that entails that employees in the public and semi-sector aren't to earn more than 130%. It also includes a 25% personnel cuts in employment packages for parliamentarians, ministers, and also the 12.5% cut, which applies to the civil servants. In the area of the civil servants, again, we tried our best not to cut into salaries, where we looked at personal benefits such as vacation days, vacation pay, and the likes. I will advise you to possibly tune in to the meeting today for more details on the laws and more information.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Mr. Brown. Jeffrey Saccharin of Island 92, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Doncher, and welcome to the hosting seat. Good morning to all of the ministers, and thank you again for doing the hard work of running the country, running the island in some very challenging times. Minister Panafleck, if I might address this question to you. The public has been patiently waiting for the detailed plan, the detailed update as to how things will progress with the COVID-19 vaccinations. When will we have the details, and when will the details be known regarding the plan, the vaccine dates, the priority order? When can we expect the communication campaign, the education campaign to commence? We've talked about this for several weeks now, and we've said mid-February is what we've been told for the vaccine. And here we are, the end of January. That's only a couple weeks away. So people are very interested, both members of the media, members of the public, and quite frankly, the world is interested as our visitors want to see that we're proceeding on getting COVID-19 under control on the island. Thank you, Minister. If you could comment, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Saccharin, for the question. You're right. I feel and I hear the urge from the community that they would like details. It is forthcoming. We started with a campaign. Maybe the information that the community is seeking for is still to be addressed. I have a very particular way of working. I will tell you the information as it is, when it is, and when it's secure. I do not give you information and then I'll have to double back on it. We had a meeting yesterday, what we call the 4 countries of the kingdom. And in that meeting, we agree upon the kingdom partners that we will come collectively Monday in our communities and explain as much as possible in detail how and when, how much, and all those kind of information that the people are so eager to know about this vaccination plan. What was released the day before yesterday is for the people to start understanding that we are constantly busy. We have deadlines to meet. Today is the deadline. And we are working diligently with all the actors, not only CPS and Public Health Department of government, but we are working also with Red Cross, like I said. We are working with White and Yellow Cross. We are working with the St. Martin Medical Center. We are working with the general practitioners. We are working with everybody, and we will be working with more people because this is a total, big, huge logistic operation that have to be taken care. One of the things that the people wants to know, but following the news, already basically as being said, is which are the people that are first going to be dealt with or will be receiving the vaccination. Even for that, there is a campaign going on for the longest while for people to register so that logistically we can prepare. The fact that it's all over within the kingdom, it was in the second chamber and it was repeated on the communities in St. Martin, everybody, that basically the first phase will be the professional healthcare workers and the 60-plussers. And I would like to make use of this opportunity also for all in the community to make use of it, either as by a general practitioner online, or there will be even for those that don't have the facility to on internet documents yes, a document that you can fill in so that we can register. I guess by now everybody understands. When we talk about residents, we are talking about all the residents, everybody living on St. Martin. I even got a question yesterday by one of the general practitioners that have a lot of customers during the time that they come and spend the winter months on St. Martin. And he asked me, are they being considered as residents? No, residence is where your main place of residence is, where you're living. So all the nations in the world are preparing and having vaccination plans for the citizens. So if you come, even if you spend a vast majority of a large part of your vacation on St. Martin, your vaccination will be in your country where you are living, residing. And let me give you a little piece more. The only people that at this present time will not be vaccinated is because of what the vaccination has been tested for, are people under the age of 18. So everybody on top of the age of 18 is being calculated to receive their vaccination. Not everybody will get it the same time, but in the course of the time, we will be able to give everybody a vaccination. I hope to have give some more clarity, and I will invite everybody to tune in and listen on Monday, where we will give more information about this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister.
All right. Thank you, Jeffrey Saccharin, as well as the Honorable Minister Panafleck for answering that question. Before we move forward and continuing with round 2 of the question and answer round, just to inform you, both the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance will be leaving the meeting as they have another engagement. For any further questions that the members of the media would like to ask, you can also direct those questions to the respective ministers' cabinets for further questions. Moving forward to our second round, Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister De Wever, in my first question, I ask you specifically if the controllers are testing the noise level. And the reason I'm asking you this, Minister, is because I know of a popular bar that was closed by court order because of their noise level always over the permitted allow in the law. So if you can explain to me, because, you know, if I know where you're living, I understand your situation, other people's situation, but we need to know if the levels are being tested, so when you go to court, where we stand. And my following question, my other question is, Minister, the CDC just implemented that people must have, whether visitors, whether returning residents of the U.S., must have a valid PCR or antigen test. Is St. Martin, the laboratories on St. Martin, are they ready? Are they prepared to handle the amount of testing, not only for those going back or traveling to the U.S., but also for those locally? How are we equipped for that?
Thank you, Ms. Hodgshaw. I actually wanted to chime in to clarify that point, and you are absolutely correct for asking that question. Yes, we have professional grade, commercial grade sound meters in the TEAT inspection department, and we have actually even loaned one to the police department. So when we go to our controls, we are going out and making sure that what the decibel level is not heard within, let's say, 20 feet, because it says outside 20 feet. Even if we go across the bay, some of them, especially in Kimsha, are still measuring over the allowed limit. So we are doing a lot of controls with the sound measure, which have to coincide with the business license restrictions or conditions of it. And like I said, this will be continuous. We have gotten numerous complaints. We have gotten letters from the ombudsman that this is something that has been neglected for a while, not on purpose, just because the manpower it takes to get this done is quite significant across the Ministry of VSA because of the health impact of the noise and the vibration to individuals. And we need the help of CAPISM for the enforcement and TEAT for the conditions under which a business can operate. And this is even for residents. If you're a consistent nuisance, you will be controlled. In addition, I know that you asked a question about the testing, and that's why I wanted to make a quick note at the end of my opening remarks regarding the announcement that Minister Panafleck had on Monday, where he disclosed the clinic that was set up at Simpson Bay Resorts. I am really, really proud of the work that they did along with the labs. We have increased our testing capacity to accommodate this, and the saving grace for this is the fact that the US is accepting antigen tests. So it's a great facility that has been set up, and individual GPs as well have different agreements with hotels that are outside the Pelican area. And they will also be sending it to the labs. So both SLS and HCLS have increased for additional testing locally, as well as to accommodate the persons going to the US. Thank you very much, Minister Panafleck. I saw you came on camera, so maybe you want to chime in. Thank you, Ms. Hadshaw.
Thank you, Minister De Wever. Ms. Shaw, for the information purposes, I would like to clarify and make the following known. It was already so that for the locals who are traveling to foreign countries where PCR were required, had the possibility to test. What happened now is, because of the huge market that St. Martin received from the US, and with the regulation of CDC on behalf of government of the US, they amplify the possibility for the customers that are our tourists to have a facility where they can be assured that once they come to St. Martin, they have no problem going back because we make arrangements to go back with the testing. So, summarizing, the possibility for the locals existed already. This what is the expansion is for the tourists. And like Minister De Wever stated, and I have stated before, there are more locations. This is one that brought out and even offer, besides those hotels like Atrium, Royal Palm, Flamingo, and La Vista, besides Simpson Bay Resort that organize it, that when it is necessary, the facility is also for other hotels or B&Bs or lodges or Echo, that they can also use of the facilitation. So yes, we prepare, and that's what I meant before. Sometimes the information is not there, but we are working, and once everything is in place, I come out, because I do not want to give no kind of misinformation, and what information come out, it is very detailed. Thank you.
Thank you both to both ministers, Minister Panafleck as well as Minister De Wever, for answering Baby Shah's question. Moving forward now with none other than Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Question to Minister Panafleck. Minister, Pantafleck, it is bothering. There are a lot of civil servants and people on St. Martin who are saying, and they are angry that they will not take the vaccine, Minister. For the past weeks, I was asking this same question, Minister and ministers, what will be the consequences of those who do not take the vaccine? Like the front, let me be specific, like the frontline workers, basically, what will be the consequences? Can you weigh in on this question, please, ministers?
Mr. Brown, I know it's difficult, but last name is Pantafleck, not Pantafleck. Second of all, if you have listened well, I have indicated that just like the best practices, who will be phase 1, and then I say eventually everybody will be vaccinated. So I did not say that the other frontliners, as you have quoted, because I think most of those frontliners are within the healthcare, and then you have a few others that are frontliners too. I deal with that daily, because when you give the description of frontliners, others also think they are frontliners, and I don't disagree with them. Depending on your job, what is the situation, you might be frontliner, because if you say the ambulance is frontliner, then the CPS will tell you, yes, but sometimes we go before the ambulances. So yes, there are a lot of frontliners, but there are choices that have to be made. I mean, we cannot on day whatever in February, we cannot vaccinate the whole population. So you have to divide it and make out a plan. So that's what's being done. So to summarize and for everybody to understand, well, we didn't say, and it's not that we are not going to vaccine, everybody will get vaccinated above the age of 18 and up. And the only thing is, for instance, as example, if Mr. Brown decided he is not going to be vaccinated, we cannot force him to be vaccinated. Other than that, anybody that wants to be vaccinated, resided in St. Martin, in one period of time or the other, will be vaccinated. I hope to have answered your question.
Thank you, Minister. And now we have Jeffrey Saccharin of Island 92. You have the floor.
Thank you. Minister DeWeaver, we heard you talk this morning a little bit about the situation at District 721 and specifically about noise levels. What is, what are the ramifications? What is the right procedure and process when you have one noisy business that is impacting the ability of its neighbors and or other surrounding businesses from continuing their normal or usual operation, or from being able to enjoy the quiet enjoyment of their residence that happens to be adjacent? Because this particular situation with 721 is causing, I think, both residential interruptions and other business interruptions. And it seems to me that it's not right or appropriate for one business to impact the ability of another business to operate because of the noise levels. I was hoping that you might be able to tell us how we get this resolved.
I prefer, thanks, Dr. Sock. I prefer dialogue first before any sort of action has to be taken that is stricter. And it's not about one business. Let me be very clear. This is not the only business that we have shut down for violations of their business license, operating license. And that's all I can say about that. The businesses, what have happened is a lot of people have been very cooperative. They have adjusted their noise levels. Contrary to popular belief, we are not in a commercial area in St. Martin. You would think that because around Simpson Bay Lagoon, you would have, and Coal Bay, you have on the main road commercial businesses with residences on top mixed in with residences. It is not. It has not been defined as a strictly commercial area. And that is something that I do need to clarify. So everywhere on the island, you are susceptible to this mix of commercial or restaurants or bars with residents. And that is the part that where dialogue comes into control. You don't want to have issues of parking, which happened in Dutch Quarter before. If you guys can remember from years ago, you don't want to have issues of noise complaints, because then it just makes everyone very unhappy. Now, when dialogue does not work, that is when you go through the formal procedure of lodging a complaint. And what is happening now is that there's the plan that's in place with the controllers. They have estimated with the inspection department, they have estimated that by March 2021, we would have regulated any businesses with noise complaints. And we have by area, every neighborhood has an issue. Every neighborhood in St. Martin or every sort of district has had complaints. And we have a report that we received from CAPISM over the years. And that is how we're doing our controls, in addition to the regular complaints that I get. On the weekends, because of me being very open with my phone number, I get calls at 1 and 2 in the morning from residents within the Simpson Bay area. And I answer those calls on purpose and transfer them over to the correct department, because they need to be aware of this complaint procedure. So we will be coming out with more information, more announcements on how to do this, but the public needs to be comforted and rest assured that this has our priority. And unfortunately, yes, with the changes, yes, with the different ministries, we are trying to cooperate and to work interministerially to make sure that we can streamline the process. And that is what has been my goal, along with the other ministers, since I've come into office. One of the things has been to make it easier to understand the licensing and the permits process across the ministries and every inspection that has to take place. And what the goal is having sort of a task force that does it together with as minimal interruption as possible. What is not correct is when people are doing their jobs, when civil servants are doing their jobs, that they are going to be intimidated and face accusations and threats. So we all need to learn to get along and work together, because the priority right now is to just bringing us back online where we need to be on the island economically. So thank you, Dr. Saka. I hope that answered it. And I will have an announcement for the numbers and emails that the public can use for noise complaints.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Minister, as well as thank you, Dr. Sak of Island 92. Into our final round of questions, Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister Doran, good morning. Are you still there? Can you give us an update on the appointment of the Managing Board of GEBE? Where are we with this procedure? And can you tell us a little bit more on how soon these appointments will be made permanent?
Good morning again. Thank you, Bibi, for your question. I am not busy with the appointment. The board is busy with the appointment. The Council of Ministers approved 3 names. I believe it was in late September. And since then, different processes have been ongoing. There has been some delay. I'm expecting another update from the board this week, but they are in consultation with the 3 candidates, and hopefully we can finalize it as soon as possible. That is all I can share for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Duran. Now for BCN TV, Mr. Lyndon Brown, you have the floor.
Good morning again. Well, from Simpson Bay over to Carnival Village, the question is about the postponement of Carnival. So this question can go between Minister De Wever and Minister Pantaflick. Minister Pantovic, what I overheard so far, there was everything put in place for health, safety. But now, Carnival have been postponed. The red light, the green light come to red. And people are very upset because the producers and all the stakeholders have already signed agreement for monetary for monetary deals, and now there's a serious disappointment. The people are angry about what happened so far. Also from the people from the Regatta Foundation. So, ministers, what do you have to tell the people?
Thanks, Mr. Brown. I'll answer that before Minister Pantovic comes in. It is disappointing that we have to cancel it. Unfortunately, this is the reality that we have to live in right now with the pandemic, especially with the concerns, the extreme concerns of the new variants, which are super contagious, and the hospitalization rates with this one is a lot higher. And what we are trying to do as a government here is to make sure that we keep our country safe. And we don't want to basically have this variant come in and we are not prepared for it and have to eventually go to another lockdown, which is not exactly the route that we want to go at all. The purpose right now with this action, as unfortunate as it is, especially with almost a month before the Heineken Regatta had to take place, is the fact that we need to mitigate. We need to sort of resist any potential spread or bringing in of this variant. And I don't remember if Minister Pantovic said it, but we also have travel bans going into effect as of today for several countries, which are the origins of this strain, whether it's UK or South Africa or South America. So we already now seeing travel bans. We have not seen travel bans for quite some months. So the fact that I feel like we are returning and going full circle to where we were last year, March, that is the important thing for us to grasp. Our priority is to keep our people safe, stay open as much as possible to flights, and to minimize our risk and try as much as we can to keep this variant off island. Thanks, Mr. Brown.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Yes,
moving forward.
If I
Yes, you may.
just to reiterate, Mr. Brown, sometimes in life, governing a country is taking the decision that is best to the community. You will not always be able to please everybody. Some will be agreeing, some are happy, and maybe some are not, because what you stated. But like Minister De Wever said just now, and that I completely agree with her, it is a matter of health, and we have to keep the public healthy. If everything goes well this year and we're able to combat the pandemic worldwide and in St. Martin, humanly possible, as good as possible, then we will have years to come to have these kind of activities. Right now, it is worldwide. The interest, the priority is to get the immune within the communities at a level that it will be making the possibility for the continuation of our daily lives as good as possible. And sometimes a setback that for some might be a big problem will give us the necessary for future life to come. I hope I was clear. Thank you.
Thank you both ministers for answering Mr. Brown's question. Last but not least, Jeffrey Saccharin of Island 92, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Is Minister Duran, my final question is for Minister Duran. I'm not sure if he's left the press briefing or not, and I can always follow up with him in writing if he's not here. Minister Duran, I was hoping that you might be able to share some insights with us. We've asked this question a few times, and I know that it's something that your ministry is working on with the GEBE. Might you be able to give us any insights into the progress of about a solar policy?
Excuse me.
Expect to see. Thank you.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Island 92, sorry. Yeah. The minister just left the meeting. I'm sorry about that. All right. Just got word on that, and the minister is no longer a part of the press briefing for this morning.
I'll follow up in writing. Thank you very much.
Do you have any question for any of the remaining ministers in the meeting right now?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
All right. To the members of the media, thank you very much for being a part of today's live Council of Ministers press briefing. For any further questions that you may have and you would like to pose to the honorable ministers, do feel free to direct those questions to the respective cabinets of those ministers. Thank you very much for joining us once again, members of the media. To the honorable council, also the online viewers, radio listeners, thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of this morning's Council of Ministers live press briefing for today, Wednesday, January 27, 2021. For a rebroadcast of the Council of Ministers press briefing, do tune in to St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, also the government's Facebook page, Government of St. Martin, and also the YouTube channel. And also log on to St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and the official government website, governmentofstmartin.org, stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Charity Dunker. Thank you very much for tuning in.